Hi, welcome to Down the Track on InView TV. Today we start a series of shows about Jordan White, a young motorcycle racer from Perth, WA, that is setting the world on fire and is destined to be a champion at some stage. A world champion I'm talking about. So let's bring Jordan on and hear how this 15-year-old started racing when he was 2 and where he's going in the next few years. Jordan White, welcome to Down the Track on InView TV. How are you going?
Hey Bruce, going good, excited.
So Jordan, I mentioned at the opening of the show, you're 15 years of age. You've been riding motorcycles since you were 2. What was that first motorcycle? It must have been a very small motorcycle if you're only 2 years of age.
Yeah, from memory it was a little LT50 Suzuki quad. So Dad could give me a hand on the back and guide me through a couple of things when I was little.
Quad. Okay, so four-wheeler then. That makes sense. I was wondering how you could balance it when you were 2, but that explains it. And obviously you were hooked. You were hooked from that point onwards. You been riding motorcycles ever since.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I remember when I was little, Dad couldn't get me off it. Spend as much time as I could riding with him, and yeah, just slowly got different bikes, learnt different things, and advanced my techniques.
And so much so now that you're obviously very keen and you're now very competitive. You're a state champion at 15 years of age. You're riding in a series this season that is with adults that riders are much older, much more experienced than you are. But the challenge is obviously there and you just love it and the passion so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's a challenge, someone to chase, someone to try and get, learn things off, and yeah, enjoy it.
And your goal is to be a world champion one day?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to strive for that, It's just, you watch it on TV and you go, is it possible? Can you get there? So I'll give it a crack.
And there's so many disciplines of motorcycle racing from my understanding. So you're talking about the MotoGP. Is that the world championship you're going to strive to get to and win?
Yeah, I was MotoGP or World Superbikes are just the two in mind at the moment.
And just quickly, what's the difference between the two?
So MotoGP are bikes that you can't really buy. Everything on them is modified by the manufacturers to be as fast as possible. And World Superbikes is production bike 1,000. So basically the showroom what you can buy, just with a few different things to make them faster.
Right, okay. And last year you rode a 400cc bike. This year you're riding the same bike and you're defending your title, but you're also riding a 600cc bike. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm on an R6 as well this season. More than triple the horsepower. So, yeah.
Triple the horsepower. Wow. So 15, you've tripled your horsepower. And I imagine the bike is heavier and a bit harder to ride.
Yeah, exactly. So the bike's a lot heavier because it's bigger engine, of course. So a bit heavier, coming in a bit faster. So it's way more physical than the 400.
All right, let's go back. I want to show you a few pictures that when you first started motorcycle racing, or at least riding around the backyard, and where you got to. So it looks like you've got your first, gear. You're ready to rock there. Look at that stance there, riding the bike for the first time around your yard there again. I want to go back. I'm going to go back here because a couple of things that come up when I was looking at these videos. So we look at this one here. They're looking all pretty cool. I get that in the red and all that. Oh, looking good. Yeah. And we move on. And this next one, this stance here looks pretty, you're ready for action with that sort of stance, I think. But it's this one here. You're riding around, I assume, your garden and your house. And it's where you're looking, your eyes. They're on the camera. They're not looking at where you're going. It seems to me that you're destined for the camera because you're already looking at that camera. These are close up. Look, you're looking at the camera. You're not looking at where you're going. Here, another shot. Some dirt track you were riding at. And again, you're looking at the camera. Look at that. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do, but that seems to be something that, you're quite destined to be in front of the camera going by that.
Yeah, typical young kid distracted by things off the track.
All right. So you've obviously a bit older from those shots, and you're preparing for the new season, which starts on the 3rd of April, Sunday, next Sunday. And you've been out practicing with a new bike. You were out last weekend. Didn't go quite to plan, but in the last few weeks, obviously things have been looking pretty up for you. And we'll just show you a few pictures. Here, your leathers arrived. Got some new sponsors. InView TV looks very proud on your left shoulder there. Great with that. Here, putting some decals on the bike. So all preparing for this season, which you must be very excited about, defending your 400cc championship and also riding in now the new 600cc. But on the weekend, it didn't go quite to plan. You're riding here and unfortunately something's gone wrong and you've come off the bike. Thankfully, it was in sand. But if we look here, it looks like you were pretty shaken up. It looks like it was a nasty fall. Can you tell us what was going through your mind when that happened?
So yeah, coming down into turn 6 at Barbagallo, I made a mistake with selecting gears and I had no engine brake. So yeah, ended up hitting the sand at quite a high speed. And yeah, the only thing that was going through my mind is how am I going to get off this before it starts throwing me off, which as you can see, didn't quite make up my mind in time and it threw me off.
Right. So you had a problem before this happened. Did you know that you were in trouble, that something wasn't right? And when you say, how was I going to get off this? So did something go through your mind, I'm in trouble? Do I jump off or does the bike throw me off? Is that what you're saying?
So yeah, when I knew something was wrong, it's basically like fight or flight. Do I try and hold on to the bike and ride it through, or do I try and abort the motorcycle and get off in a safer way than what it could end up?
Right. Okay. So a very quick decision that you have to make then and there.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you've come off a bike like this?
Yeah, it is actually. I haven't really had too many crashes in my career, but that was the first one that really shook me up.
And how are you now? Were you any injuries, any permanent things, or are you okay now?
I feel all right now. I had a bit of a sore knee, sore back and sore neck to begin with, but all of the above are all right. It's just a bit of a sore hip at the moment. Must be some sort of strained muscle or something along those lines.
And the bike, what condition is the bike in?
The bike was all right. It was just the fairings and then the handlebar that were all a bit smashed and bent up. But we're in the process of fixing the fairings and, yeah, just all putting it back together at the moment.
And so that's the bike you're going to be riding this weekend, yes?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously a bit of work to do on the bike to get that ready. And are you now, obviously you've still got that slight injury, but you must be excited to get out there. Are you a little bit apprehensive because you came off that bike and because it is a newer bike, it's a heavier bike, or you just can't wait to get out there and hit the track again?
No, I can't wait to get back out there. I'm not too worried about what happened because I know what happened was avoidable and it was rider error going into the corner. So it could easily avoid it and, yeah, it doesn't stick in my mind or anything.
I guess that's the way you got to be. You just got to put that behind you and get out in there and jump on the bike and ride again. You can't. You would learn from it. Obviously, if you made a mistake, you make sure you don't make that mistake again. But yeah, you got to look forward. So this weekend you've got 2 races: the 400cc and the 600cc. Is that still the plan?
Yep, still the plan. The bike should be ready in time, so give it a red hot crack.
And there are 2 championships in the month of April, one at the beginning, one at the very end, I think. So it's going to be a very busy month for you. What's the plan going in? Is it just go around the track and try and finish somewhere up the top and just get back into the season in both the 400 and the 600? Or are you got a mindset, I'm going to go out there and try and win both?
See, I've got a bit of a different mindset for both of them. In the 400, obviously defending the championship, I want to go out there and get a great start to the season, try and win as many races as I can. Whereas in the 600 Super Sport class, I don't really have that much experience, and I was hopefully able to learn a couple of things off the faster riders that have a bit more experience, and then develop my riding skills from there.
Okay. When you say you want to learn a few things off the more experienced riders, does something already come to your head that I know I'm going to have to learn that more and I'm going to watch how these guys do it?
Yeah, it's just like lines over some parts of the track and where they brake and where they accelerate, body position even. It's just those little things that make a couple of tenths here and there, but add up over the lap.
And at the end of the race, because you mentioned at a few tenths here and there, at the end of the race, between first and second and third, how many tenths or seconds could actually separate it? I can imagine it can be very, very close at sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like during last season, there was a race where I managed to get the win, but second was only 0.1 of a second behind me. So
Wow.
virtually nothing.
Yeah. And I'm going to bring up a picture in a future episode where you're on a bike and someone is so close behind you. I didn't realize there was another bike in the picture until I looked and I thought, what's that other wheel I can see? And then I realized it's someone so close behind you, the cameraman couldn't even hardly pick it up. So it must be exciting when you're racing that close together, and especially when you're trying to get around them. I can imagine it must be very much a thrill. Jordan, thanks for being on the show today. We are going to follow you throughout the championship in WA this year. We look forward to talking to you before the races and after the races and see how you went, what your plans were. Did they come to fruition? Did they not? What the future holds for the next round of the championship. And we're going to keep an eye on you. We want to let all the world know how good you are at just 15 and where you can possibly take this if you stick with it. I know, and we'll talk about in a later show as well, that you've been to the Malaysian Grand Prix and you've experienced that, and you're going to go and race in a series over in Malaysia as well. So we'll talk all about that through the series. We'll also talk about and show pictures of your journey from a 2-year-old on bikes right through to 15, all of 15. And we look forward to sharing this experience with Australia and the rest of the world. I look forward to talking to you more.
Me too, Bruce.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Catch you.
It's all about beauty. It's all about passion. It's all about change. It's all inclusive every day of the week. When the